Choose life. Choose a sport. Choose a drop zone. Choose a start time. Choose a fucking big jump plane. Choose turbine engines, speed, unlimited altitude, and endless horizons. Choose height, no low turns, and travel insurance. Choose jump tickets. Choose tiny action cameras. Choose your mates. Choose a rig and matching helmet. Choose swoop shorts and a range of fucking fabrics. Choose 120 vertical speed and wondering who the fuck you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting on that couch, watching debriefs, spirit-saving slow-mos, smashing beers after last load. Choose standing on the podium at the end of it all. Choose a win you'll love every time. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you fly NZ Aerosports?
Of course, I absolutely love the NZ Aerosports business model. I mean, come on. One glance at an Icarus fuck yeah sticker and you know it lines up perfectly with the fucking pilot mentality. But outside their wonderful use of colorful language and a great company vibe, there's a long list of reasons to say NZ Aerosports, fuck yeah. NZ Aerosports blows me away right out of the gate as a canopy manufacturer with a bold offer. They give you 10 jumps on your brand new nylon to decide if you want to keep it, swap it out, or even return it for a refund. I mean, seriously, how incredible is that? That's like getting halfway through a prom and deciding you prefer the slightly racier date that goes down faster. Seriously, they do that. If you're not madly in love with your new canopy after 10 jumps, they'll let you swap it out for another size or model, or even get your money back. And the range of canopies they've got? Man, they've got a style canopy to fit every jumper and every situation with models you know and trust, like the Sapphire 3, the perfect choice for the beginner or intermediate canopy pilot. The Crossfire 3, when you're ready to kick it up that elliptical notch. The JFX 2, if you're looking to up your new swoop game. The Leia as the workhorse and dirtwater dirt beast, or the Petra. The Petra cranks out crazy power and is nothing short of a record breaker. But hey, it's not always about speed either. Take the Kraken. Built as a low pack volume canopy specifically with wingsuiting in mind, she gives you all the performance you're looking for with the reliability you need that'll have you itching for that next formation, rodeo, or puffy cloud. So the equipment is top of the line kick-ass stuff as you already know, but how about the team? Well, the customer service gang is there to sort you out whenever you need them. Maddie and Beto are always there to help with Jen holding the reins. They're available for you at sales@nzaerosports.com, and they've got a kick-ass live chat tool on the website if you're wanting to hit someone up right away. These are the crew you're going to want to talk to get those custom orders in. With the stock nylon, once you know what you want, they'll have that shit on a FedEx truck as soon as the credit card machine says approved and get you in the air in no time. For your custom orders, you'll be able to get a time frame for building and shipping when you design it, so get to it. And demos. They've got demos in the US available from their partner Rock Sky Market. The whole US demo fleet is there with Sapphire 3, Crossfire 3, Kraken, JFX 2, and Leia canopies in a range of sizes. They also offer student and tandem demos in the US. Bottom line, every step of the way, NZ Aerosports is there to get you what you need, and I personally couldn't be happier to be teamed up with them here on Lunatic Fringe. Hell, they've even got a special offer for all you Lunatic listeners out there. Just head to pages.nzaerosports.com/into the void. That's pages.nzaerosports.com/into the void and follow the instructions to register a website account with them. You'll score a discount voucher with $20 towards any purchase over $200. I mean, come on. You know you're going to shop with NZ Aerosports, so grab a little extra cash towards that buy and enjoy. The offer is good until the 31st of December, and the voucher's good for 3 months, so go register now. And now, time to get started with Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, brought to you proudly by NZ Aerosports. Fuck yeah.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. Here to actually talk about some funny stuff and some serious stuff as well. Back visiting with me again, so tell me, who the fuck are you? And what do you do?
Fuck you, Jen. You know that by now who I am.
And everybody now definitely knows who you are.
Yeah, I'm Olga, and I'm a professional skydiver.
You are?
I am.
You are Olga, the professional skydiver. You are also a swooper. with Icarus, yes?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's true.
And I've got an Icarus athlete in the can. That's very cool.
I'm really excited to talk about that as well.
Awesome, and we absolutely will. So just to give us a brief recap for those that haven't listened to your previous episodes, give me the super quick rundown of your beginnings in the sport and how you got to where you are now.
So I did my first skydive, a parachute jump 13 years ago, and it was around canopy, it went around parachute in the military. And since then, I understood that I really do want to skydive and proceed skydive as a career. I don't know why. Like from the first jump, I realized that that's what I want to do. And it took me quite a few years to build a number to get my tandem rating and AFF rating. But from the very first jump I did, I knew that that's what I'm going to do as a profession. I don't know why. And the first AFF jump during the course when I was getting my skydiving license, I saw the guy flying in front of me with a, very fast something little parachute. And I'm like, I want to do this. And that's how I got hooked. And my dream was to become a canopy pilot. And since then I was just like looking, working on it, building my jump numbers, getting better and better. And here I am now.
Nice. So round about how many jumps do you have now?
It's actually going to be my 10,000 jump very soon. I think it's 9,800 something. So it's pretty close to 10,000.
Nice. Yeah. And almost welcome to the club. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Fuck, I might have to dust off the rig and come jump on that one.
Yeah. You definitely should join me on that one. I will definitely push you to be on the
Well,
skydive.
10,000 now. It used to be 1,000 was an iconic number, but now it seems to be the 10,000 mark. I mean, most of us have been in the sport for a good chunk of time now. And
man, when I started to skydive, I looked at people with 100 jumps as a sky gods because in my country it was like 100. It's a lot of jumps you have to do, and it felt like that. Nowadays, you look like 100 jumps is you like in the beginning of your skydiving career, like back in the days, 100 jumps was like fuck.
Oh yeah. Well, we just had a mutual friend do his 10,000th, Abdul Bari.
Oh yeah,
and
it was a fun
he did that in how many years? Like a short amount of time.
Very short amount of time.
Like less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Which is, holy shit.
But that's the beauty of nowadays. Like you have more possibilities to skydive. Like when you skydive in post-Soviet Union countries like Belarus, you have to drive 500 kilometers every weekend to do a couple of skydives, and the weather is shit mostly. So you cannot build 1,000 skydives a year.
Right.
Well, nowadays I'm doing about 1,200. Well, pre-corona times I was doing about 1,200 jumps a year, which you can build the numbers very quick.
It adds up fast, for sure.
It is fast.
So we were going to specifically talk about pre-podcast. We were wanting to discuss injuries in the sport, specifically in skydiving, and especially over a long career, how your mentality changes about injuries. And you, at the beginning of your career in square canopies, you struggled with landing and stuff like that, and so a lot of minor injuries there, which obviously you're going to overcome those because there's nothing serious going on. But you've done quite a transition over your professional career because you've had some substantial injuries, some minor ones and some big ones, and you've really kind of mentally progressed into how you should really kind of view those. There's a lot of people that listen, I know, that don't have a whole lot of time in the sport, maybe don't have any opportunity to have seen or dealt with injuries and coming back and how to deal with them. So that's kind of what I want to talk about.
Okay, cool.
So
I've had plenty. Know that.
What was the first big injury you dealt with, and what were the circumstances and how it happened?
So to start with, I'm naturally very, very clumsy, and to me,
so juggling kettlebells is a great idea.
I know, that's my new passion, man. Every time I do that, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna drop it on my foot and I'm gonna break it at some point. But I'm getting better,
I'm gonna buy you some steel-toed shoes for your birthday.
Yeah, please, and helmet, another one. So I was very clumsy, and I was struggling with landings a lot. Part of it, I don't have a depth perception, so I really hardly understand how far I am from the object. So it doesn't really help skydiving career.
No.
So I had a few crashes, like a lot of crashes, but I've been always kind of like strong. My body was strong, so it helped me a lot not to get like a big injuries in the beginning of my skydiving career. And also, I've been growing up on the streets, in the forest. I wasn't sitting and playing computer games. Yeah, so like when you fall on the street and your knees are bleeding, it's not like you're gonna go and cry. You just get up, you brush this blood, or you wash your knee, and you're like, oh, how fast I can get back into the game, you know?
Sure.
So that's probably the mentality that helped me not to, like, oh my God, I twisted my ankle. I'd be like, oh, I twisted my ankle. Okay, cool. Where is the ice? Where is the ankle brace? Can I go back to jumping? But I would say, like, I didn't have any, like, huge, very serious injuries until I started to swoop.
Of course.
Because then all this depth perception and my bad landings came into the play. And,
it was all important shit.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think like the first like very, very big, very serious injury was when I downsized and I couldn't understand how low I am from the ground, and I smashed into the ground and collapsed my lung. And you remember that pretty well, I think. Because
I do.
After the morphine, I think you were the first person I saw in a hospital.
Yep. Myself and then me and Nomers came to visit you quite a few times. Yeah. Well, so to go all the way back, you said that you were always a bit clumsy and you grew up tougher than a lot of people normally would. Do you think that's one of the reasons that you have tried to, say, mentally downplay your injuries, even if it's a severe one? Because, and we'll talk about this particular injury, was a serious injury. On that particular jump, I think the appearance from the outside appeared to your friends as though we knew how serious that landing was, but you didn't. Like, all of us were like, she was literally a second away from dead if you had planed out any fucking lower.
Yeah.
And it never really seemed to click with you. And that's one of the reasons that Nomers and I got so mad at you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we got really mad. In fact, I believe we practically made you cry in the hospital because we were so upset.
Because I was thinking about the color, but you
yes,
can't be.
because you had your fucking phone out and you were trying to pick the colors for your downsized canopy, a couple of sizes smaller than the one you just frapped in on.
But that's the thing. I think, it is kind of a mentality. Like when you grow up not locked in a room with the computer games, when you grow up in the streets and you used to fall and you used to that something hurts, something like something scratched, you get up and get back in the game. I think like my mentality was always like this. I would listen to the medical opinion of the doctor. I divide it by 2 and then I'll listen to my body and see like, okay, is it really that bad? Because like being a skydiver and jumping out of the plane changes a lot of your mentality a lot, right? Because you at least, things you cannot do, you at least doubt them, right? You at least like say, oh, am I really fucked up? Or
Sure. Well, the mentality in regard to the level of the injury, I think, is different than how you got injured. So my question is more like I remember as I started to get a little bit older, and I was a roughhousing kid as well. I didn't grow up with the internet. We were outside doing fucked up shit and jumping bicycles, and I've fucked myself up quite a lot. But I hadn't broken any bones until my mid-20s, and hadn't had anything that could have been considered a really close call until then. But when I finally did really hurt myself, I remember going, oh, okay, this is not, this isn't something I can walk off the pain. And I wondered where it was, where you were mentally in that first serious injury, in that mental, I can just walk this off. It's not that big a deal.
I don't think I've ever really take my injuries serious and seriously, and I'm learning now. I'm definitely learning to respect my body more, because before it would be like, okay, I'm fucked. Tell me, how am I gonna survive? Yeah, okay. How long will it take for me to get back into the game? And normally I would never stay as long as I would say on the ground, right? Like if doctor would tell me, okay, you cannot jump for 2 months, I'll be like, okay, 1 month.
Sure.
And then I'll just look to my body and listen to it and try to evaluate how I feel. Like when I collapsed my lung and I was in the hospital, yes, first week sucked because I had a drain between my ribs, and I had to walk with this big huge thingy that was sucking the air out of it, right? Yeah. So it was sucks, but like once I got out of the hospital and I was going on the long walks
Right.
just to test my lung, like to test how do I feel when I do a little bit faster, can I jog? And the first week, like trying jogging, it was terrible because you cannot really breathe.
Sure.
So you're like, yeah, fuck, I'm not ready for skydiving, right? Obviously, like it's not skydiving friendly
Sure.
body yet. But once I start feeling better, then I realized that it's not going to take as long as doctors say because, they're always very careful. So they tell you they're like, okay, that's a day when a normal human can probably recover 100%. But
Sure.
have you seen any skydivers 100% healthy?
No, I haven't been 100%.
Exactly.
Ever.
I mean, people taping. I remember when I broke dislocated my finger.
The crooked one?
Yes, that's crooked one.
Yeah, the crooked one.
On my famous blind man into the windsock lensing. You remember that?
Yeah.
So, and I was, it was Mike actually. He said like, fuck it, you should just tape it.
Sure.
Tape
Well,
it all around.
So I think there's a big difference, though, between an injury and a potentially life-threatening event. So, like, I was just as big an idiot in regard to some of the injuries that I've had in skydiving. I had an injury that was not related directly to a skydive. I mean, it kind of was because it was a repetitive injury with my shoulder. But then I had a slip and fall on the ground and actually tore the tendons and had to have surgery. And the doctors, of course, gave me I think it's the 2 or 3 month standard answer.
Yeah.
But I had gotten a job offer from Skydive Cross Keys that started in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, of course, I babied the shit out of my shoulder as much as I possibly could. And then I went and took the job and jumped until I ended up having to have surgery again. But that's different than I ended up, almost in the ICU in the hospital for a good chunk of time. I definitely get you pushing the injury side of things. Well, I guess what I'm getting at more is what did you think about how you injured yourself? And did you go back into jumping with a different level of respect for how really bad it can get?
Oh, 100%, because it was the first huge impact, I've never seen ground that fucking close and coming to me so fast. And I never thought that our body can actually bounce off the ground to another 3 meters or 5 meters up and just land, And of course, it gave me another perspective of how dangerous, the downsizing itself. And that's why, like, right now, when I understand in the era of small little wings and everyone want to be cool, like, does this wing really, small wing makes your balls looks bigger?
Right.
Not really. So, like, whenever my student ask me, when can I downsize? I ask them, like, why? Like, why would you? Because,
Sure.
And before, I was downsizing for only one reason, because I wanted to get to where I am now as soon as possible.
Sure.
And obviously, after that, I was going back and trying to, just debrief this jump. What did I do wrong? How did I not understand? Why didn't I pull toggles and, slow down earlier? And I realized that, I didn't understand how high I am, how low I am,
Sure.
actually. So obviously, after I came back with a fear to go back into the sky and go back into and everyone was saying that I should upsize, but I didn't think so.
Already ordered the smaller parachute, had you?
Yes. So downsizing wasn't really an option. But to be honest, it wasn't like unsafe. It was unsafe from the mistakes that I did, not recognizing that I am low and not going on the toggles early enough. But from all the other perspectives, I wasn't unsafe. It was
Sure.
the only one time when I actually got it low.
Well,
and-
that's the thing, right? So you were current enough that flying that canopy on its own was not unsafe if you're doing it in a relatively mellow manner.
Exactly.
It was how you were flying the canopy that was putting you at risk, for sure.
Exactly. And you come back to skydiving after having an injury, obviously you're going to be scared.
Sure.
Even if you twisted your ankle or whatsoever, you're going to be very precautious next time. You're going to be kind of, I'm going to land on this foot and maybe, slide down and maybe sit down instead of standing up and running your landing.
Sure.
So like when I came back, obviously I was like, oh fuck, maybe I should pop up my altitude like 30 feet higher, which I actually did because I never cared like if I'm going to plane out high in the beginning as long as it's safe, right?
Sure.
And So I did, but I think the ability to develop the ability of tell your fear to shut up, it's very important in skydiving as well.
Of course it is.
Because you're gonna have fear, you're gonna be afraid, especially after the injury. I understand all the people that like a few days ago, my one of skydivers, the beginners, she came to me and she said like, hey, I was flying this canopy close to the ground, and about 50 feet, my canopy partly collapsed. And then it opened again, but I was so scared that I landed, and it was very turbulent. It was like hot. And she's like, well, I'm afraid. What do I do now? And what advice can you give to a person who's scared to fly their own canopy? You cannot say, hey, don't worry, it's never going to happen again, because you don't know. It might happen again tomorrow. So you go like, okay, just fly.
It might happen on the next load.
Exactly. So you kind of like, okay, well, it's skydiving. We cannot predict everything that can happen, even if you're very careful and you take care of your gear and you're very safe and you do this and that. Sometimes shit happens, right? And you have to understand, you pick this sport, and this sport as an extreme sport that has a room for just unpredictable things to happen, and it can cause you.
I mean, I don't think I've heard of or dealt with or seen a single serious injury or fatality that didn't fall clearly into a category, right? I mean, people say it was such a bizarre once in a lifetime thing, but most of them aren't. Most of them are, a series of things happened or something similar to something else happened. There's very few times that there's an injury or a fatality in skydiving that I've heard of that didn't at least fit somewhere into a category of this happened or that happened, or right.
Yeah.
It's very rare that something completely off the wall fucking happens.
Well, I had this one completely out of the wall. Then when my helmet, when I forgot to close my helmet, and it's actually ended up on my eyes. So what happened, I was jumping hop and pop, flying to the pond, last load of the day, checking all my gear, and I'm still not sure, did I close my helmet or did it open while I've jumped out? Because I've jumped out, check my canopy, and I've never felt like the helmet is moving at all. Like you normally would probably feel it. But then I come to the pond, my setup, and I snap. And when I snapped, the helmet just went up and closed my eyes. But you're already on your fucking, you snapped, you're on your ears, So it's 3 seconds till you're going to meet the ground, right? So I cannot see shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm flying to the pond, probably. But, there is edges, there is a gravel, there is a metal pipe that supplies the water to the pond. Yeah. So I'm fucking don't know if I'm going to end up in the water at all. So, and it's funny enough, it's only 3 seconds that you have from the moment you snap till the moment you land, right?
Sure.
But, kind of playing out, yeah. But in these 3 seconds, I felt like I had the whole freaking conversation and decision making in my mind. The time stretched so badly.
Sure.
So I decided to go on the side because it's a grass, and it's a big, beautiful grass, amazing landing area with only one fucking windsock in the middle of this landing area. And I'm flying straight into this windsock without even seeing that.
Sure. And
my canopy wraps, I think it's still kind of good because the canopy wrapped around the windsock, and that stopped my horizontal speed. So I just ba-boink.
Yep.
And so I lay down, and Cornelia is running to me because she saw that. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And I'm like, I don't know, my knee, I feel my knee, my back, and then I'm looking at my finger, and the bone is sticking out of there. It's just and I'm like, oh fuck.
Let's just tape that and get on the next load.
No, I actually took a few days off. I really did.
The size of that knuckle, is that your wedding finger?
Yeah, it is.
You're never getting a fucking ring on that thing.
But that's an idea. I think that's exactly why I fucked up this thing.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a tattooed ring because you're never getting a ring over that knuckle.
It's absolutely fine with me. Otherwise, it's going to be a big fat ring, which also not too bad.
This is when I wish this was on video and not just audio. Someday. Well, a lot of good points and all that for sure. I think you were talking about when you were just getting back into it and not worrying about planing out too high, and but you had stayed on the rears too long and not gone to your toggles. And I actually had a friend that does jiu-jitsu that had made a great analogy because he's a skydiver as well. And he said, just like jiu-jitsu, when you're new, don't be afraid to fucking tap. and the toggles of that tap go, okay, I'm not quite sure
Yeah.
how this is going. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
Nobody's going to give a fuck that you planed out higher, went to your toggles. They're going to forget that landing before the next load, but they'll remember the one that you slam into the ground.
Oh, yes, 100%. And it's funny enough, like not long ago, I think it was during the quarantine, Chris Stewart asked to write, what did you learn about their like injuries or whatever fucked up situation that you have while skydiving? So I had this question to think about before, and I've realized that probably one of what I've learned is like not to be afraid to bail, because
not at all.
Sometimes it's all right. We all want to get these gates. We all never, never give up the gates, trust
Sure.
your ears and all this bullshit, right?
Sure.
Safety third.
Sure.
It's all good. It's all fun and games until you end up in the hospital with a pipe sticking out of your ribs, and then you're like, okay, even if you're alive and you're not paralyzed and you can get back to normal life, you're still losing time. You're still losing fucking time on the ground when was not necessary,
Sure.
right?
Well, that's one of the super popular Facebook groups is the school.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
It's just-
So everybody loves that group, and they go on out of morbid curiosity. This is like the old driver's ed videos that they used to show kids in school in the United States. Red Asphalt was video of horrible car crashes and all this stuff. And human beings just have this morbid
Oh
curiosity
my
of
God,
wanting
you
to see
love
that.
seeing crashes.
Absolutely.
That's why you go to see Formula One, man. Like yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's more NASCAR than anything. You get this car going around in big circles. Nobody goes to see the car go around in circles. They
Exactly.
go to see it hit the wall.
Exactly. And that's why freestyle Swift challenge sometimes like I love, that's like my dream to become part of that.
Sure.
Of that event because I think it's amazing how they kind of introduce this sport to an average person by setting a setup in the middle of huge cities, you
Sure.
know, like big cities where
Well,
people,
like Copenhagen, yeah.
Yeah, Copenhagen, or like people just what was it, San Francisco?
I think so. Or it's either San Francisco or San Diego.
So yeah, so the people can go on a walk and just stop by and see people flying the parachute.
Yes.
But the thing is, people do not understand what you do in Miracle Man, Lazy Boy, fucking TikTok,
No.
Tick Jockey, whatever you do. But if they see a splash, they're like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that
Well,
was cool.
what I noticed in watching a lot of the videos in like especially Copenhagen, the last one that Junior was in, was that the people were cheering the most when either somebody chowed and ended up in the water in some
Yeah.
spectacular fashion, or when they made it onto the raft.
Yes.
That's all people
100%,
knew.
yeah,
They didn't
100%.
didn't have any idea that they were doing some fancy move on the way to the raft. They
Yeah.
just know they either made it, almost made it, so they loved it when they would make it but
Almost
slide
like
off.
they slide off. Yeah.
You know, so they loved all that stuff. And you're right, it really does bring it into a spectator world where people don't have to understand what's going on. I don't know what the
Exactly.
fuck's going on in a NASCAR
But
car.
then it's become so spectacular friendly because, and
Sure.
I think that's what I love about canopy piloting in general, because you can go and watch the competition. Yeah, you might not understand distance, speed, accuracy whatsoever, but you see canopies flying in front of you,
yeah, it's spectacular.
whether the disciplines like free fly, four-way, ATC.
Yeah, most
it's
people
more-
don't understand it.
Yeah.
Or if they want to see something like free flying, they can kind of mentally understand it if they're seeing it at a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
But if you're watching a video of a bunch of people in the sky and there's no reference, people have a difficult time kind of, if you're not a jumper, realizing what's going on or how impressive something
But
is.
look, in the tunnel as well, like, unless you have a good music and, like, I don't know, Inca is flying there, you know, with this beautiful body and, you know, just a beautiful music just plays.
Sure.
And you look at it as an art. But when you get, like, a group of 4 people and they start doing rotations in the tunnel, head down, head up, you know, like, carve, whatever, you're like, holy fuck, I get lost. What's going on?
And again, people might not understand, but they at least have a little bit of perspective.
No, 100%. No, I'm happy that it's going this way,
Sure.
and now sport becomes more spectacular friendly because we definitely want to, like I want more girls in this sport.
Sure.
I'm talking about that all the time because,
Sure.
fuck, we have. I think 13. It's still 13% of girls. Are the only 13% are the girls in
Sure.
skydiving. So it's pretty male dominant sport.
Sure.
Which is, I don't understand why, because it's not a sport where we measure muscles and you don't have to be stronger
Sure.
to win. So it's pretty equal, you know, like there is equality in this sport, which I absolutely love about skydiving. So the more girls see that, and that's why I post like a lot on my Instagram account, because If I have a chance to inspire some, like one girl to become a skydiver just because I'm being present and real and I'm doing something that, like something that they might like, they can look at it and they're like, oh, hey, if other human can do it, you can do it too,
Sure, of course.
And that's kind of what drives me a lot, is just like to be an example. And because I wasn't talented at all, like I had crushes on every skydive. I've been jumping with a radio in my helmet until I had like 30 skydives, because after I graduated, yes, man, it was hilarious. After I graduated my IFF, the owner of the drop zone, he was like, oh, no, I'll be on the ground. Really just fucking take the radio and just go up, because I couldn't understand where to flare. So I understand people who struggle with that.
Sure.
People come into sport and they're like, oh, I cannot understand how high I am. I cannot land properly. I'm like, if you will give it time, just believe in yourself, it will come.
Sure. Well, that's the thing too, though, right? With skydiving, it's a difficult process to learn, because with a skydive, if you're hauling ass on a busy drop zone, you can manage 2 landings an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a long process. Compare that to learning how to land an aircraft. I can land an airplane in the traffic pattern 50 fucking times, a little 152 going around the pattern, and in one day take enormous strides toward being a more competent pilot in regard to takeoffs and landings, because I've got so much more of it. But just like a skydive, you're talking about a very long process, right? So there's no simulator for landing a canopy.
100%. And that's what I love about canopy piloting as well. And like swooping is amazing in many ways. I just absolutely, I admire this sport. I'm absolutely addicted and I love it.
Sure.
But one of the reasons why I respect this sport so much, obviously it's a community that, like you come to the competition and those dudes that I absolutely love to see, and, having a beer after a long day jumping, and you just all this laughs and talk about skydiving, not skydiving, whatsoever. But swooping is very fair sport, because basically to become better, you have to get your ass up and just get in the plane and jump.
You have to do the jumps.
Yeah, you have to jump out of the plane. You cannot buy your knowledge just by going to the tunnel. And I'm not saying that other sports are unfair, right? Because you put your effort, money, time into improving your skills as well.
Sure.
But in swooping, it just takes way longer. Like if you have all the time and money in the world and you want to become a free flyer with a little bit of, body awareness, probably it will be way shorter period of time than to become a good canopy pilot.
Sure, with that tunnel to help do something like that, for sure.
If you fly 5 hours, I don't know, like every week.
Well, it's the same analogy as learning how to fly an airplane in the traffic pattern. And I have, when I see a talented skydiver in free fall doing a badass jump on video, I don't give a fuck if that guy learned how to fly in the tunnel or in the sky. I still love what he's doing.
For sure. 100%.
That being said, I take a huge amount of pride in my mediocre free flying skills because I earned every fucking one of them one jump at a time.
Did you see me free fly?
I don't know that I have.
I think we should go in the free fly skydive.
We'll I'm not gonna.
You and me. It's just gonna be a mess, but we're just gonna call it a fun jump. We're just gonna go and fuck it.
It'll all balance out. That's fine. That's all fine. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, I don't care how somebody gets those skills. I'm just impressed when they have them. But there's no replacement for learning how to fly that canopy. I was lucky in that when I started flying parachutes, I never really had any issues with it, but I was already a pilot when I started skydiving, because I had started flying planes when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So I kind of understood the mentality, and for whatever reason, it just made sense to me. So I never really had any bad landings. I also was in no rush to downsize. I only downsized initially because the tandems that I was filming were almost beating me to the ground.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I really, for the longest time, the canopy portion of the skydive was simply how I got back to freefall. Freefall was all about freefall for me because I was a camera flyer and I was learning how to free fly and all this stuff. So the parachute was just a means to an end.
That's very interesting how people select the discipline they want to fly.
Sure.
Like to me, it was always, I want to fly the wing. I enjoyed free fall part a lot because I was doing 4-way competition. I was doing big wave belly formation, and I respect belly so much because that's mentally teaches you to focus, and especially when you're in a 4-way team, you cannot just say, hey, I'm sick. Like there are 5 other people.
You got to be there.
Yeah, there are 5 people for waiting for you, and also like it's teaches you to focus. But anyway, like I've enjoyed this part a lot, but I've always wanted to fly a wing, you know, and it's a beautiful night. Look at that, flying my wing, like flying fast canopies is like my favorite thing to do.
Sure. And again, I think part of it was because I had been flying planes since I was very young. So the idea of flying a wing for me was sitting behind the propeller, and staying up as long as you had fucking gas in a destination. So the canopy part of it wasn't as big of a draw for me for the longest time. And I don't even remember when the change was that I really started to enjoy flying a parachute. I think probably about the time I finally downsized just to make it easier on myself, and I ended up on a Stiletto 135 was the first proper canopy that I was on. And I flew a Sabre before, which again was a decent canopy, but it wasn't anything hardcore.
Man, I've started swooping when I had just over 5,000 jumps. So before that, all my jumps were on like similar canopy, like it was a copy of a Sapphire canopy, and then it was a copy of a Crossfire. So I was kind of leaning into the NZ Aerosports by flying their copies, But I didn't downsize, and I didn't find anything rapidly like fast-ish until I finally convinced Cornelia to coach me, because I didn't want to start without a coach, because I knew that I don't have the talent and depth perception and all of this. I knew that if I'm going to start by myself, it's going to go fucking wrong.
So that was a very uncharacteristically wise decision on your part. I'm actually, I got to admit, I'm actually surprised, because I've been there for a lot of pretty borderline silly choices that you've made.
I do make a lot of silly choices.
Absolutely.
In my life,
So
for sure,
you telling me that you didn't want to start downsizing and actually trying to fly a wing like that until you had a proper coach.
Yeah.
That's really good. What the fuck happened? Because as soon as you started flying those wings, your decision making for a little while, and let me put a caveat on this. I applaud your much more grown up take on it now, and your approach to it is much more in line with something I can get behind, which is safety oriented and learning from the mistakes and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't the way it used to be. When you and I first became friends, and for a while after that, it was all, I fucked up, let's go try it again.
Yeah,
and you go bigger.
I think I still have this mentality. I just I evaluate my jumps a little bit more, and I think about that ahead a little bit more often, not always. But so what happened is I think I was pushing it a little bit too hard, because I always feel like I'm limited in time, and I want to get it done, and I want to get it done fast. I want it all, and I want it now. Kind of mentality I have, and it's not working with swoop. And I learned it the hard way, but I didn't know, like that why can I not become a world champion within 5 years? What the fuck? I mean, like, that's my goal. That's what I want to do. I'm going to push hard.
So why pick that time frame? Why did it have to be 5 years?
I don't know. It's just like, that's how I came to Corn, and I was like, Cornelia, like I've known her.
Train me to kick your ass in 5 years.
Exactly. That's what I said. I want to compete with you, and I want to kick your ass in a competition. And she was like, And, but how she rolled her eyes.
Sure.
And she said, okay, come.
Yep.
I'll help you.
She's got a great way of being condescending without even saying words.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Just roll her eyes. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's amazing. Amazing.
So, I think I just was pushing it too hard without, and also, I never told Cornelia about the depth perception problem, so she didn't know it until actually that happened. And
so actually, before you move on, tell me about the depth perception issue. What exactly is it? I mean, is it a medical thing?
It is kind of a thing that you can have as a medical thing. It's you cannot cure it because you don't have a surgery for it. It's just the understanding of how far you are from the object. It's not as real and accurate as it is, because my vision is fine. My vision is fine, but it's been from the childhood. Like, I could run and there will be a tree ahead of me, and I'll run into the tree because I think it's farther away. And my mom would be like, "Didn't you see the tree?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw the tree, but I thought it's further." And I thought like I'm gonna
really
run
fucking well.
Yeah, I saw the tree. It's just like I thought I'm gonna turn just before the tree, and then I hit the tree, and I
Oh my God! I wish there'd been more video of you as a kid. That shit would just be funny.
I'm fucking happy we didn't have iPhones back then.
Oh.
So anyway, yeah, but everything you can train. It's like your vision, your brain, your muscles. You can train it by doing it and do it and do it and again. Because 2 years ago, I wouldn't even imagine that I can do a landing by the eye, by just without, editor telling me the altitudes and
sure.
by the count, because normally I would start and I would count very precisely. That's why all my turns pretty much the same. They very similar. I don't have different turns. Normally it starts at the same altitude and 7 counts and a snap, I know that. But now I can understand that sometimes I stretch it a little bit, longer, and I can adjust my turn if I need to a little bit better. So after 13 years skydiving, I think it just the vision kind of got used to the picture that I have on every skydive. So
well, I mean, with the discipline that you've chosen, being able to vary those turns is hugely important, because doing doing the exact same turn on every jump is not a fucking good thing, because conditions change from one jump to the next. I mean, temperatures can go up drastically, and they're going to make you go faster. It can get colder. You planning out high, fine.
But it's always like that. It's never going to be easy. Whatever you you can have a perfect depth perception, but then you're going to be not flexible with your shoulders, and then you cannot fly distance as good as Nick Batch or but it's always going to be something. You just have to overcome it. You just have to okay, well, that's a shit I have to deal with. That's the cards that I've got. So game on. I have to just figure out how I'm going to work around that and just work around. So that's probably what I say to my students as well, that they shouldn't give up and think they're untalented, or just because they cannot finish AFF and 8 jumps, it doesn't mean that you shit in what you do.
No, absolutely. Well, and that's always a good lesson to impart. As a matter of fact, I was lucky enough to sit down. In fact, the episode that's running now while you and I are talking is with a guy named Ivo Ninov, who has gone on to become a ridiculous world-class base jumper and has just done all these amazing things. But when I was one of his AFF instructors way back when, he struggled. He had a really hard time with it. And we're talking about a world record-holding rock climber who's built for dealing with stress and has put himself, for days on end on stressful situations that I can't even begin to imagine, but I couldn't get him to relax on a skydive. And it took quite a while, but eventually he was able to go, all right, no, I need to just chill and look at this a different way. And it was always you're going to be able to do this.
But imagine how hard it is to relax on a skydive. Man, I understand every student of mine. I was shit scared for the first 10 jumps I did.
Of course. But so he was a little bit different, though. And this is actually, and I asked him briefly on the podcast, although I wish I'd got into it more. We would go and debrief the skydives, and he was super tense on all these jumps, just stiff as a board and muscling the hell out of everything. And I would tell him, as we're briefing for the next skydive, I would say, okay, so on this one, I gave him the standard hand signal. Oh, we're just going to relax. And I would shake my hands. And I would say it just like that. So we're going to relax, right? And what are you going to do? So, I'm going to relax. Whoa. Holy shit. And so I would finally get him to go, I'm going to relax. But it was so tense. And, of course, he was able to finally overcome it and get past that. But he even admitted when I talked to him recently that, it was a real struggle getting through AFF. And I never could I couldn't understand how someone could be so comfortable and poised hanging 2,500 feet off the valley floor in Yosemite, doing these intense rock climbs and be chill and mellow and, be graceful the way that they had to be.
It's unknown. unknown field. It's something that he haven't done before, and he doesn't have the confidence. He didn't build the confidence here. And while
I
you build
agree.
the confidence,
I
it's
just
gonna be...
I would have thought naturally that ability to relax in stressful situations would go from
I don't think it's
one
going
area to the next, and it didn't.
No.
But no, that was a great lesson for me to learn, and one to pass on to students as well. But again, he's a glowing fact that no, you can start out not doing great and end up again. He's one of the most prominent base jumpers on the planet.
And that's the thing, like because we live, especially nowadays, we live in an era where everyone is trying to show their best side. Oh, look at me, I'm done this, and you're trying to be perfect in a way, but I don't think that perfection is something that you have to consider as a final point.
One of the most freeing things for me in skydiving ever was realizing I wasn't going to be the best at any discipline.
Yeah, because then you just took it easy and just enjoyed
and just have
every
fun.
skydive.
Yes, absolutely. I was never going to be the best tandem instructor, but I was really good at it, and so I enjoyed it. I was never going to be the best canopy pilot, but I was good at it.
But that's the thing. That's what I think. Like when you start accepting and talk about your insecurities or whatever, you have doubts about yourself, they disappear. Like, for instance, I've always thought that I'm the only one, the scared one before the swoop competition, because I would be shitting myself. I would come to the boarding area, and these guys, the swoopers, they're all mean and badass, and I didn't know anyone back then. Now I'm laughing and joking and drinking with them.
Sure.
But back then I was very new, this chick with this fucking pink canopy, coming there. I'm shitting myself. I don't know. My first competition, my main goal was to survive.
Sure.
It wasn't about medals,
sure,
about a score, whatever. But I came there I was going to the war.
Sure.
I'm I need to survive. If I survive, that's been successful competition, And but then I started asking them, and I started asking Darman brothers, and we were having a beer after. I was having a wine, of course, but anyway. So we were having drinks, and I asked them guys, how do you feel before the jump? Do you nervous at all? Because you look so cool and calm, and you joke around, and I feel like I'm fucking scared little rabbit, and they're no, man, we do. And Max Mano as well, he said he has his breathing technique, for instance, he in the plane, he closes his eyes and he goes through the whatever breathing technique he has, and sometimes he has to start breathing a little bit faster if he feel he is too calm,
sure,
under the canopy. Everyone has their little tricks,
sure,
right? But everyone is scared because,
of course,
everyone is scared. It's normal.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of what you saw before you knew these guys and knew what was going on was the same thing that instructors put on for their students, right?
Yeah.
I've had, I don't know, what have I had, 4 or 5 tandem cutaways, or countless scary canopy rides under turbulent conditions and fucked up situations where, as the instructor, you don't get to be scared. Because you've got to project some form of confidence for your students so they don't get freaked out.
I'm shit scared when I go on the FF skydive with my student because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
They don't.
Of course not, but that's what I mean. So, right? I mean, there were literally more times on skydives when I guarantee I was more scared of that jump than my tandem students were, because I fucking knew, this is some sketchy fucking shit we're doing here. I mean, the very first jump that I ever did at Skydive Fiji, I rolled out of an airplane in clouds at 14,000 feet and came out of the clouds at 2,000 feet. My student had no idea that was the stupidest thing I'd ever done.
Sure.
I'm
no GPS as well?
No, fuck no. I'm just over water, I think. I'm not sure, but you have to project this calmness to give it to them. Well, I would imagine that's the same thing that's going on in the loading area with those competitors, is they're not going to let anybody see their nerves, not because they are worried that someone else is going to think they're being a pussy or something, but because if someone else acknowledges their fear, it becomes much more real.
No, 100%. But it's just funny that you mentioned about this time. I remember in South Africa, my boss gave me GPS because we were jumping in the clouds a lot.
Fuck.
And he didn't tell me that GPS is shit when it's cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I'm looking at this GPS, everything is upside down. I don't fucking know where I am. I know there is a Indian Ocean behind my back, and there's a great white sharks over there, And the wind is pretty strong, and I don't see a sun because there is no fucking sun. It's clouds.
Yeah.
And I was shaking. But you get but you have a student in front of you, and you have to kind of, no worries. We'll see a ground at some point.
Sure. Well, and the big lesson that I learned in all those times when I was being fake calm and fake confident was that the more I was putting up that front to them, the more it was calming me down. I was forcing myself to be calm, not for me, but for them. And you start to you grow this relationship with that fear of yours, and you start to realize very quickly, all right, I'm shit scared, but I know I can handle it, and I can freak out later when I'm on the fucking ground, right? And there have been many times
I think your perception changes while you're dealing with something like this. Like you're scared, but you experience enough that you understand that you cannot just like drop everything right now. I drop the tackles and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die.
It happens. There have been fatalities. I mean, a number of fatalities over the years where people got themselves into a fixable situation. There wasn't that many years ago. I remember there was a wingsuiter that had passed away, who was under a spinning malfunction and never cut away. And it wasn't a spinning malfunction to the point that they wouldn't be able to get to their handles. And, the opinion was that they freaked out and just didn't do what they were supposed to do. A lot of shit like that happens. People seize up. So it does take a little bit of something to realize, all right, I'm in a fucked up situation. I'm scared. Like one of the scariest flying experiences I ever had was flying in really severe mountain turbulence. And I had no way out of it. Like I was 45 minutes at least before I got past where it was really bad. And I knew that. And you have to just take a deep breath and go, all right, there's only one fucking way out of this. And that's if I do what I need to do, I don't get to freak out right now. I can freak out later. And you do that, whether it's for flying or skydiving or whatever. And that's one of the huge lessons that you learn, right? Is that you get to freak out later.
Yeah.
And cool. But again, you start putting up that fake front for students and everything, and that teaches you an amazing lesson of, okay, that whole joking fake it till you make it. Well, even if you're on your own.
It works.
Damn right. And you just tell yourself.
You're like, okay, I think about that tomorrow. I'll think about it later. Whatever works, fake it till you make it. I mean, yeah, man, you cannot, like, you always got to be scared, but you have to just, forget about that. Like I tell whenever I jump with other people at tandem, I'll tell them to just come to the door and do not focus on the fear of jumping out of the plane. Just keep your mind busy with something else. Think about the body position or whatever. Like think about having your head back, and 2 seconds after you're going to love it is just to trick our mind and take the attention away from the fear and tell the fear to shut the fuck up,
Absolutely.
Because that's the only way to go through some of the situation we deal with.
Sure. No, absolutely. Well, that's one of the things that I will pat myself on the back on in regard to skydiving with tandem specifically is I learned those lessons in regard to fear pretty early on. I didn't start doing tandems until I had a couple thousand skydives.
Oh, okay.
So I had, so I had already scared the living shit out of myself a number of times in skydiving and had learned how to cope with that to some degree and learned those lessons in a way that I could kind of try and read and act appropriately with each of my students. And because of that, I never had a refusal, which I thought was wonderful, not necessarily because I didn't have students that freaked out. Of course I did. It was that I had learned how to read them enough to realize this is how this person needs to get past it. This is how I can deal with that. Whether you're distracting them and you've had students like this where
you as an instructor, you work like a psychologist, man. Sometimes
you have to
be.
Absolutely.
This bullshit and talk like about nails, man. I was talking about nail polish with some chick just to get her mind out of it.
You get their minds off of it, or there's the ones that trying to distract them doesn't work because they're so focused on the fear, and that's when you have to look them dead in the eyes and be straight with them. Go, what we're doing is kind of dangerous, but it's fucking amazing. And guess what? I have plans for dinner tonight.
Yeah. I'm going to come back.
Absolutely. So you figure out which one.
That's my line, actually. You stole my line.
Oh, hell no, honey. I was using that 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You could keep it.
I always used to tell people that was my big thing is that, we're going to go up and it's going to be freaky and scary, but don't worry. I have dinner plans tonight and I never miss dinner.
I normally say I have a bottle of wine in my fridge, so I'm not going to scare
you can say that. So briefly back to the injury subject that we were on. So looking back now at the way you dealt with the serious injuries early on in the sport, what would you do differently?
Not much. Like, I would say that is very important, and what I pay a lot of attention now is like my physical activities. I still trying to keep my body as strong as possible because I understand that will help me if I'm gonna crash again or if I'm gonna hit the ground very hard. The stronger my body is, the less chances I have that I'm gonna go down.
Sure.
for real.
Sure.
So I'll still do that. If I'll say like the lessons that I've learned, obviously that it's okay to bail. It's okay. It's fine to bail, and it's fine to go on toggles. And even if it's important competition, if you see that you are very, very close to the ground and it's coming to you very fast, fucking use your toggles. That's what they're made for, to stop your canopy from,
Sure.
from flying into the ground.
Sure.
And it's better to have 0 in your competition than to have to spend your whole life in a wheelchair or, a
Yes.
couple of years out of skydiving. Because, so I would say, like, I'm just, I don't think I would do anything different that much. Like, I'm obviously listening to my body, and I know my body very well. So if person understand and listen and don't push too much through the pain. Obviously, if you cannot run and because you cannot breathe, you're not gonna go skydiving.
Sure.
Because with a collapsed lung. But if you can do that, if you can evaluate your body ability and understand that you actually can do that, then I think it's fine to go back to skydiving. I think like I wouldn't do crazy stuff like I had this funny fire jump,
Yeah.
which is not skydiving related, but it was a pond party. It was like a
So
big.
it was skydiving related. It wasn't jumping related.
It was jumping related because I did jump over the fire, right? So.
No, not actually. You
I
didn't.
did,
You jumped into the fire.
I did jump in the fire. So like.
Fuck.
It was a huge fire pond party. Everyone is having like drinks floating around, and I had quite a few. And then Jason, and he is like 2 meters. He's 198 centimeters tall, like almost 2 meters tall. He just jumps over the fire, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that as well. And my friends are like, no, don't do that. I'm like, hold my beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ran into the fire. So my whole fucking right leg was burned. And obviously, I could not put a shoe on because my foot was burned, my leg was burned. It was like very, very bad.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get back to work because also it's like I didn't fuck up myself skydiving. It was a fuck up during the party, so it's not really
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good excuse to stay home.
No.
And they couldn't. They never let you jump without a shoe,
Sure.
and it was painful as fuck to put the shoe on. So I would go into the plane without the shoe, and I have a shoe in my pocket, in my RDS pocket, and then I jump. Before the jump, I'd put the shoe on. I land, and I took the shoe off, and I'll just carry on. So maybe I would give myself more time to recover, because I've never let myself to recover. Every time, like probably the longest time I've took myself off skydiving, like injury-wise, it'd be 3 weeks.
Sure. Well, so I absolutely agree with part of your mentality when it comes to recovery time. Yes, you listen to your own body and know the doctors are not always right. Because I've been able to get back to activities long before they said I would and recovered much quicker. And I'm sure you're the same. Pretty much every time I've had an injury or a surgery that I've recovered from, the doctors have gone, wow, you're doing really well. This is quite quick.
Yeah.
Which tells me the same thing it tells you, which is, of course, they're always going to recommend a longer time. But because of what we do and what we do being so physically demanding, we also have a much higher chance of, during the normal course of events, fucking up ourselves again, because what we do is so much more strenuous than what the average Joe Blow or Jane Blow does going to the office. Yeah. So when those doctors give those recommendations, again, I tend to be like you, and chances are I'm thinking it's going to be quicker than that. But again, also age and fitness level is a huge thing to take into consideration.
Keep your body strong. That's
Sure.
what advice I would give to everyone who's getting in any sport. And it's don't train for something. Train for fucking life, because that's what you need your body for. You need to have a strong vehicle to take you from A to B, and make this journey as long as possible as well, and as pleasant as it possible. But yeah, I mean, like, of course, I've never had a chance to recover, and sometimes I feel maybe if I would, like, give this finger a little bit more time,
look so...
maybe it wouldn't look that brutal like it is looking now.
I wish you guys could see this finger.
You send me DM. I'll
it's
send you
it's a good thing it's your ring finger, because if it was your index finger, where that might end up going, could be all curved and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I don't use it much nowadays because I've learned to.
Because it doesn't bend.
It doesn't bend really. Yeah, so I made like this two index finger and middle finger like pretty strong, so I can use my front risers when I swim. But anyway, yeah, like give yourself time to recover, because sometimes I've been lucky enough after the injuries when I come back not to re-injure myself, like ACL reconstruction. I came back after 2 months, and it was obviously too early because the doctor told me like 9 months, the recovery should be 9 months. And I came back after 2 months jumping tandems, and I've been lucky enough not to re-injure that. But if I would re-injure that, I would take a year of my life.
Oh yeah, in fact, that was actually another injury of yours that you and I kind of headbutted about. In fact, I remember giving you shit in the staff room. This would have been a few years ago.
It was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and you had the ACL injury, but you weren't sure what was going on yet. You hadn't had anything done, and you decided, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and jump until I get the results. And you remember this?
Yeah,
my fucking head came off. I was cussing you out in front of other staff members because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You could cripple yourself for life. You don't know how bad it is. Yeah. So I agree with a lot of the way you do things in regard to, I'm going to recover at my pace, and maybe I push it a little bit, but I'm going to try, a little bit. That one made me mad because you hadn't been assessed yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I would always say, and I would recommend being smart and just go and check yourself out and just maybe take the medical opinion, and then
yes, I mean, get a second opinion for injuries if you're concerned or something like that. But if you don't know how hurt you are, but you know you're hurt, stop. Just fucking stop. That's when you just go time out. And it wasn't even that you were still jumping. It's that you had decided you were going to continue to jump, and you were going up on a fun jump to swoop the pond. Yeah. And I was like, are you fucking asshole. I believe I called you an asshole a lot.
But that's the thing that happened with another surgery when I had the ACL, the real ACL reconstruction that happened in Jordan. I landed and I knew my knee is fucked, and Chooks just got my gear and I'm like, I'm going for a jump, and he's like, well, you don't look good, but I did another 3 jumps. And only when I started crying in the plane because I was so painful, I was like, I landed and I'm like, can I take a break?
Yeah. Well, skydivers, for the most part, skydivers are going to let other skydivers do what they're going to do. We all make our own fucking decisions. You sign the waiver, you're going to get on the plane, you want to do that jump. I'll call you an asshole, but I'm not going to keep you from getting on the airplane unless I don't think you're
safe or whatever for everyone else.
Unless I don't think you're making an informed decision. But if you have all the information and your wits are about you and you decide you're going to go do that jump and I've made my opinion known, well, then that's it. You're a big kid. You're going to go do your jump. It's when maybe you don't know what's going on or you don't know the extent of your injuries, something like that. That's when I have an issue. I mean, I'm no better. When I broke my leg on, I believe it was either my 25th or my 27th skydive, I knew I'd fucked myself up on a canopy that I was too small. It was given to me by a staff member at the drop zone that I learned how, and it was a dramatically smaller parachute than I should have been flying. I panic flared, let up on the flare, slammed in, and broke my leg. I didn't know my leg was broken then, and I didn't want to appear to be that pussy who made one fucking skydive in Paris Valley before he had to sit down. So I made another skydive. Halfway up in the airplane, my leg swells up like a fucking sausage because I broke the bone just below my knee lengthwise 1.5 inches. Just split it down. And as my leg swells up so that I can't bend my knee anymore, a wise and intelligent person would have stayed in the plane.
No, but you're already in the plane. You already paid for a jump.
No, but I was, again, I'm only 20-something skydives into it, so I didn't have that yet. Not only did I jump, but I jumped on the same fucking little parachute that I broke my leg on. Right? Now, needless to say, I nailed that landing.
Okay,
it was
well,
a fucking beautiful landing.
What lesson did you learn from that? If you will turn back time, would you do that again, or
Would I have made the jump again?
Yeah.
No.
would you stay in the plane?
No, I wouldn't have gotten on the plane. I would have gone, you know something, I fucking hurt myself.
Yeah, but if you got it on the plane, would you still jump?
Well, again, if I'm looking back and had I learned the lessons that I know now, if something like that happened now, I wouldn't even put myself in the position of having to decide to jump because I wouldn't have been on the plane. But again, looking back, I would have never broken my leg because it would be like if you handed me your Petra right now.
Yeah.
And said, hey, you want to go jump this? My answer right now is go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well,
of course I'm not going to jump your – what are you flying?
Oh, Petra 67,
Yeah, go fuck
72?
yourself. It's not going to happen. No, there's not a goddamn chance. And it's just because now I know, I can look back with all this experience and go, no, I had no business being on that canopy. I went from a PD 210 to what at the time was called a Turbo Z 165. It was a half ZP semi-elliptical canopy. I had no business being on this canopy, but the experienced jumper told me that it was docile. And it didn't dawn on me that it was docile to him, a guy with thousands of jumps at the time.
Yeah, but with your 20
Yeah, but you know what? I'll tell you what, though, looking back on it, I still take responsibility because I, at the end of the day, took the rig. I didn't ask any more about it. He said it was cool, so I just, fuck it. All right, let's go. The only funny sidebar to that story is not only was he the one that lent me the rig that had my first injury in skydiving, he also packed my first malfunction. He was so fucking mad at me. He was so mad at me that I chopped a pack job because up until that time, and we're talking years in the sport, he'd probably packed thousands and thousands of parachutes. He had never packed a malfunction. And now here's some guy with, I think, again, 27 or 28 jumps just chopped. And if you ask me now, it was a spinning malfunction, but I couldn't tell you if it was just a brake fire or if I actually
classic.
Yeah, I mean,
classic.
I literally could have. I don't know. It's possible I cut away a brake fire. So if that's the case,
you would apologize to him right now.
I'm really sorry, Kurt. I'm sorry, dude. I may have cut away a brake fire.
Which probably was the case because
it may have been.
With this amount of jump, if anything is unstable, you like fucking chop it. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, I remember it opened up and it was turning, and
Halas, get it.
That's it. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, absolutely. Although I'll tell you what, looking back, I gave a great piece of advice to a friend of mine who did chop a brake fire, and she got a lot of shit for it, and was kind of torn up about the fact that people were giving her such a hard time. And I asked her point blank, I'm like, when you cut that parachute away, were you convinced that it was the only action you could take to save your life?
Yeah.
And she said yes. And I'm like, then next time somebody gives you shit for it, you thump them in the fucking chest and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Exactly. Look, like I always say to my students as well, don't get this shit from anyone else because every person is different. Everyone deals with stress differently. Some people just freak out, black out. I don't want my student to black out while he doesn't trying to realize if it's really death threatening or is it just a malfunction?
That's the thing, right? And that was the thing that I told her.
If you're not sure, if you think that it's better to chop and you will feel fucking safer, just chop it.
I asked her, I'm like, in your opinion, did you think that? She said yes. I'm like, did you perform your emergency procedures the way that you were taught? She said yes. I'm like, then you tell everybody else to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that's always and that comes also like back to the injuries. I think like, hey, we all different and we all know ourselves better, right? We all know how our body reacts, our mind reacts, and we all can make a decision regarding that. Like, I'm not 10 years old, right? I know my body. I've been through in this body for a while, so I can understand how...
Are you 22, 23 now?
Yeah, around there. So anyway, like I had this situation, a funny like story when I started skydiving. I was like 1 year into me skydiving, and I had hernia in my neck. So it was hurting a lot. Like once a year, I'd be like on the fucking painkillers because I couldn't get up. I had one in my neck and one in my lower back. So I came and I did the MRI in Belarus in a clinic, and there was a like old lady looking through. Maybe she wasn't that old, but I mean like anyway, she was looking through my scans and she's like, and what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I have my career as I was running the biggest travel company in my country, and plus I'm skydiving on my days off.
Sure.
And she's like, well, probably she thought of skydiving as a parachute jumps, you know, when you
Right.
are boom into the ground, where she's like, oh, you cannot do that because otherwise you'll end up in a wheelchair in 10 years. I'm like, for real? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, are you married? And she's like, yes. I'm like, well, if I'll tell you your man is going to cheat on you in 10 years, will you divorce now or you will still give it a chance?
Sure.
And she's like, okay, fuck off. Here's the exercises, do the exercises. And like, I don't know. I actually think my body got stronger, and I was doing a lot of physio. I was doing a lot of training on my body. That's why I say, if you wanna make sure that whenever you hit the ground, you're gonna walk away or like crawl away with a smaller consequences that you could.
Sure.
Train your body. Make sure your body is healthy and strong. Do like whatever, like do yoga, do swim, do run, do lifting. Whatever floats your boat, just make sure that you do some activities to keep your body muscly, like to have some muscles in your body to support your core, to support your spine, and to support your bones.
Absolutely. By the way, I think that was very entertaining that you did air quotes around Belarusian doctor.
Right.
like being the arrogant American, I always assume that like ultrasound in Belarus is just someone screaming real loud at one spot at you.
Normally it is, yes, but you know.
So before we wrap it up, I want you to tell me about being an Icarus athlete.
Man, it wasn't even a question like, what am I going to fly ever? Because once I asked, obviously I didn't understand anything about the canopies once I start like swooping. I knew there is some fast canopies and some slow canopies.
Sure.
I didn't know if mine is slow, if it's big. I didn't have any ideas about the sizes. So when I started flying velocities, like I had a very, very smart downsize because I always downsize one size. Like I had the opportunity at the time to have a rent and have the wings one size smaller each time, and I would do like 200 jumps on each wing or more if I need to, if it's a smaller wing, until I needed to get my first wing. And then I think I got a Valkyrie first, but after a little bit, I wanted to have a Leia because Leia came up, and I got Leia, and then Cornelia gave me to try her Petra 72, and it was a turning point. It was like a point of no return anymore because once I flew this wing, well, the first time I jumped with Petra, I chopped it, but so I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to fly it.
Okay,
I chopped it because I had a smaller D-bag. I kind of, I didn't know the volume of the packing of the cross brace canopies of a sail canopy, and it's huge. So I tried to squeeze it in my little rig, and I did squeeze it, but it just didn't come out of D-bag. So I'm like, oh fuck, that's it. That's how it was pretty bad. But the second time when I jumped it and I flew that, that's it. I was like, I love from the first flight.
Sure.
I knew that's a canopy, that's a wings I want to fly.
Sure.
Because I loved Leia, I loved Petra. It was absolutely the wings of my preference, and I wanted to become an athlete for Icarus NZ Aerosports. But
fuck
I wasn't. Yeah, fuck yeah, man. This, like you said.
Oh, you got the T-shirt on. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, and the sticker. Like it's just the mentality of ours. It's just fits so good with us, and the wings are so amazing. So, but I wasn't there yet as an athlete, but I really had a desire to be.
Sure.
So I start sending emails, and I send emails, and Shannon answered, and she said, "Yeah, like let's try. Let's give you a go." And that's how I started. And that was like, fuck. I mean, like I love the company. I love the athletes there.
Nice.
I love how they do things and what they do. I love the product. I love each and every of my wings. I absolutely love. I'm about to order my first Kraken because I started flying wingsuit now.
Sure.
And I think that's a perfect wing for the wingsuit as well. So like all my baby wings, sure. They are from NZ Aerosports.
Sure.
And I'm super happy. And like now my student and my friend Luke, he is about to order his first wing, and obviously I'm saying like, okay, like you can order your rig and your AD and reserve whatever you want, but the first canopy that you're gonna have is gonna be Sapphire.
Nice.
That's we ordering Sapphire for you because I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love this wing and you're gonna have fun with this wing for a while.
Sure. Well, it's always been kind of funny because obviously I've been on higher performance wings for many, many years now.
Yeah.
But I always looked at NZ Aerosports came to light with, again, canopies, especially the Petra, really started making fucking waves.
Yeah.
And I always viewed the canopies at NZ Aerosports as, boy, I'd really like to fly those, but I'm not. There's no fucking way.
But it's good that you understand.
Of course.
It's
well,
good
again,
that
that's those lessons learned, right? That being said, I have a shitload of experience on their tandem canopies, and
my God, I love it.
I've been in some amazingly difficult situations on those canopies that bailed me out because the wing did what I needed them to do. So it's been pretty spectacular all the way down the line. Well, congratulations on being an NZ Aerosports.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Thank you very much.
Fuck yeah.
That's
awesome. Well, honestly, thank you so much. It's very cool and it's refreshing to talk about a subject as difficult as stuff like injuries in skydiving and get somebody to be honest about it, because obviously we want to bullshit and we want to act as though it's not a big deal, or either that or it's somebody that's completely the opposite and it's the end of the world.
Oh my God, some people are such a drama queens, like especially the girls. Oh my God, I broke my fucking nail. Well, get back in a plane. I mean, if it's not a major injury, just get back on it.
Yeah. Well, and guys can be the same way, but it's nice to have someone just take a measured approach to, this is what I've been through, this is what I've done, this is where I learned lessons, this is where I was making mistakes, because we all have. Sure. And skydiving is the only thing, not even sport, only thing in my life in where I valued learning lessons through other people's mistakes and not making them, because clearly the mistakes that we can make in skydiving have some big fucking consequences. Yeah. So it's definitely my hope with podcasts like this that especially people learning and coming up in the sport hear people that are at the cutting edge and really pushing things have learned those lessons. And that's been one of the best things about this, and one of the comments that I get most often about the podcast is they get to hear people they look up to admitting that they've fucked up.
But that's a great thing. Like you said about Ivan, what is his name?
Ivo, yes.
Yeah, Ivo, that he'd been, like he wasn't the best.
Yes,
and it's okay.
Yes, no, and he happily admitted on the podcast, he's like, no, I struggled. I really worked to get there, but obviously I put in the work and I learned those lessons.
Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
and it's nice it's very refreshing, because we live in an age of Instagram and Facebook where everybody is so worked up and trying to make themselves look cool that they don't realize that admitting those mistakes and admitting those lessons learned makes them look so much cooler than if they're flawless.
Exactly. So keep it real. Don't be a cunt.
Yes. Cheers to that.
Cheers
Don't
to
be
that
a cunt. All right. Blue skies. Thanks again.
Guys, thank you very much, Dean.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys, one more time. That's another episode of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void in the Can, brought to you, as always, by the greatest magazine in the known universe, Blue Skies Magazine. Head to blueskiesmag.com so you can subscribe to the magazine and check out all their cool shit. Also, the Extreme Sports Collective, pussfoot.com. You're going to want to go check them out as well. Summit Parachute Systems, Jarrett Martin making amazing fucking pilot rigs and teaching rigging courses at summitparachutesystems.com. Wine's getting to me. And me, the fucking pilot, at thefuckingpilot.net. You can check out both the books that I've written, the Fucking Pilot book and the Accidental Stripper, both available in digital and print, and maybe someday in audio. See ya.